What's up, y'all? Dick Hi-Fi here. We're going into another episode of the ABCs of the ASR10 with Dick Hi-Fi. We're going to talk about storage and saving things, deleting things, erasing things, whatnot from the thing. I mentioned briefly in one of the earlier installments here that I deal or have dealt strictly with the floppies. I've been having this ASR since like '94. It's my original one. It's never given me any problems. It's been really good to me. One of the things that I've always been nervous about was earlier on in sort of the history of the ASR, there was a thing where people were saying SCSI drives would kind of mess your machine up, start giving it hiccups, and I had a couple people tell me that from first-hand experience. They said after they hooked up the SCSI drive to theirs, they started getting weird malfunctions and it would shut down, just weird things. I don't use terribly long samples anyway, so the format for me was good. You'll see a high density disk HD, those are the ones you want to use. The double density disks, they don't hold as much. It'll be a pain. So try to get a hold of those, order them online on your favorite bid website, whatever, wherever you can find them. Get them new. Don't mess with used ones, because saving your music, it's important. You don't want to sacrifice that. And let me say this. Also, lately, in the past few years, how I work is after I get something going, the samples and the sequence how I like, I generally just dump it into the computer or put it on tape pretty soon. And sometimes I don't even save it. And I don't know. It's been fun for me for some weird reason, but just think about that too if you're, concerned about running through floppy disks, their availability, or the SCSI. So that's just another option there for you. So the OS that I use, which is the operating system, which is you have to put into the machine or it ain't gonna work. I use 1.6. I heard a lot of people say that they just like 1.62. The higher OS versions, they do fancier stuff that winds up getting in my way. It's specifically with the audio tracks, it just makes it messy because it's fancy and it doesn't work out so good. So yeah, I've heard other people say that too, so I'm not alone in that. You can also expand your board by putting Sims chips in here. Again, my board is stock. I never did that because, like I said, I don't sample that long. I kind of enjoy the challenge of not having like endless sampling time. That's just me. You freak it any kind of way you want, but yeah, you can expand it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna run through a command here. The first real command. We're gonna format one of these disks. So this disk is blank. We already put the OS in there. We already booted it up. You have to format the disk because Ensoniq has its own language that it speaks. It's not Mac, it's not Windows or anything like that. You have to format the disk in order for it to be able to understand what you have on there. It's not going to read an MPC disk. It's not going to read anything else. It's only going to read stuff that you format on the ASR or the EPS. So we put in our blank disk. It's not write protected. We're going to hit Command System. It's going to say format floppy disk. We're going to hit enter. It's going to ask you for a disk label. You should label your disks if you want to be organized. I kind of stopped doing it because I just got too lazy to think of new names for the disks. But to create good habits, go ahead and label them. So I'm going to call this Fisk 000. I could do it anything you want there. 4 letters, 3 numbers. Anyway, there we go. Format type Ensoniq. Yes, that's what we want. Ensoniq. Erase and format the whole disk. Yes. The reason it's saying erase is because most of those disks are pre-formatted in DOS or whatever have you. But we don't want that. We want the Ensoniq. So see there? It's blinking. It's formatting. It takes a while. It takes a minute, so you're just gonna let it do its thing. Go get a cup of coffee, get a beer, whatever you gotta do. You come back, it'll be ready. All right, so we're back here. And let me just reiterate there that it takes a minute to format the disk. Don't think your machine is like messed up because it's taken too long. It's really like it takes a couple of minutes. So don't panic. Really, just go get a cup of coffee, have a smoke, whatever you got to do. So we have our formatted disk here, and oh, don't touch it while it's doing its thing. Don't do anything. Don't touch it. Don't look at it while it's formatting. Let it finish. It'll tell you when it's done. So this is our formatted disk, and I went ahead and I put some sounds in here and a sequence in there. We're going to save them now. So the first thing we're going to do is save our instruments, and we're going to go Command Instrument. It's going to say Create New Instrument. No. Copy Instrument. No. Delete Instrument. No. We want to save it. There it is. Save it. And I just scrolled to the side there. So save the instrument. Yes. This one was called cow. So these are named already. If it hadn't have been named, it would say unnamed instrument, and I would scroll back and forth and named it whatever I wanted to name it, and I'm gonna name this one I now. So we're gonna save it. I just hit enter, and it's doing its thing. You'll see it blinking and it's making noise over here like it was when it was formatting. Perfectly normal. If it's a long instrument, it'll take a minute to save. If it's a short one like that one, it does it relatively quickly. Here we go. This yellow light is on. That means this instrument is selected for editing. This red just means that there's an instrument in that slot, right, in that track. It's just letting you know that there's one there. The yellow one means that we're dealing with this one now. So save instrument. Ghosty instrument. That's a good enough name for me. We hit yes. We're saving it. You see it blinking. It's ghosty. So that's saving. Now, when you make a sequence, it puts them in a specific spot, and it's going to play them back into that spot, wherever that instrument was. So we want to make sure that those instruments go back in the same track, or else it's going to just be chaotic, which could be cool, but generally not. So what we're going to do is save a bank, and a bank basically just takes a picture of where these instruments are. It's just a little bit of 1 and 0 data. It's not like a sample data, so it's barely takes up any room. So we say save bank, sound bank 1. You can edit the name of it there, whatever. We'll call it round bank 1. Hit enter. It shuffles the data for a second, and then it saves it. Now, say we were working on something, and we had our tracks in there. We got our sounding just like we wanted them. We made a sequence, and I happen to have made a sequence, and I'm playing it now. Okay, not very exciting, but just as an example. So we want to save that. So we're going to go Command Sequence, delete sequence, no, save current sequence, yes. Again, it's going to prompt you to say give it a name. I'll call it Vequence 1. All right, so we've saved our sounds. We saved our bank, which is was the collection of sounds and how they correlate to the instrument tracks. And then we saved our sequences. The sequence, of course, is the pattern that we put in there. We can have multiple sequences, making multiple patterns. So, say basically the sequence is say your main beat. Say you want to take that sequence, but instead of having the snare play on the normal 2 and 4, you want to smack it on the 1 this time or whatever. So you can make that sequence where however you want it to play out, however you want the pattern to be. You can have as many as you want, up to 99, I think. And we've saved all that. So now our work is saved. We can shut the machine down. We can recall all this, and we'll be right back where we left off. So, all right, that's episode 3 storage. See you next time.